All right, guys, very good evening. Thank you so much for joining on a weekend. My name is Saurabh Sarkar. I'm a beta engineer in Microsoft, and I am going to walk you guys through very quickly. This is going to be a short one. I'm not going to take a lot of time, but I wanted to take some time and talk about reporting in Intune. Or Microsoft Endpoint Manager, Microsoft Intune. So I know that if you're from an SCCM background, you would have seen how good the reporting is in SCCM, but it hasn't been that good historically in Intune. But we have made a lot of changes now, and things are only becoming better. Therefore, I wanted to take some time and talk about what are the new things as related to reporting in Intune, how we can generate report, and if not from the Intune console, how else we can generate report in Intune. So I'm sharing my screen now. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can, we
Yeah,
can.
Okay,
we can.
perfect, perfect,
If
perfect.
you can minimize my, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, yes, yeah, sure.
Yes, we
All
can.
right then. Okay, I'm just trying to bring this to a bigger screen. Let me see here. All right. Anyways. Okay, so guys, traditionally we had two methods of generating report from Intune. The first was the Intune console, and the second was hybrid deployment. We'll very briefly talk about both of that in the next slide. So Intune console earlier was the Silverlight console. The console that we have right now is the Ibiza console. The earlier console, which was the Silverlight console, I think back in 2016 and 2017, that did not have a lot of reports that we could probably run and generate. So all that we could get from the console, from the Silverlight console or the previous console, was the inventory related information, as in what are the devices that are enrolled to Intune, what is the hardware of the device, what is the patch of the device, as well as the patch management. So in the Silverlight console, we had the option of patching the Windows 7 devices. So we could get that report only from the Intune, from the old console. And the report looked something like this. I mean, it was just a very basic, very basic interface, which would just tell you the devices that are enrolled to Intune and the patches and the basic hardware versions of those devices and the patch management. Again, not very helpful because we did not have the option of exporting most of the reports. The basic reports could be exported, however, most of the reports could not. And we did not have the option of customizing the reports. So we could not we did not have the ability of building a custom report if we wanted to. All we could do was export what we could see in the screen. So that was there in the old Silverlight console of Intune. Then we had something called an hybrid deployment. So hybrid deployment, again, this is now deprecated, but what happened in this was we could make policies in our SCCM console. It synced with our tenant, and then it was deployed to the end devices. In that case, we had the ability of running accessing our SCCM SQL database and running a few reports and then getting information more granularly. However, the basic dependency of this was that the end users could not move out of the hybrid deployment, and hybrid deployment was never the goal because because of various drawbacks. So let's just say that. So this is the legacy. I would call these two methods as the legacy method. The first one being generating report from the Silverlight console of Intune, and the second being a hybrid deployment, wherein we were able to get a lot of reports from the SCCM console just like we can now. But then it in a way it restricted the user in making use in this dependency in having the hybrid deployment. And since Microsoft deprecated that back in 2019, this was not an option anymore. So in the modern reporting, I mean, this is where we are now. And as of now, these are the three options that we have to generate a report from Intune. The first one obviously being the Ibiza console, from wherein the Ibiza console being portal.manage.microsoft.portal.azure.com, and from there you can go to Intune or devicemanagement.microsoft.com or endpoint.microsoft.com. All these three take you to the Intune portal, and that is also referred to as the Ibiza console, and from there you can download the report, which we will see later on. The other options are using tools like Microsoft Graph Explorer, which leverages the Graph APIs. We will take a brief look over what that is, and then using third-party tools like Power BI. So, all right. So first, if we talk about the Ibiza console, and if we actually do a comparison between what we see in the Ibiza console versus what we saw in the old Silverlight portal, we will see that Ibiza console is a lot better. The framework that we are using for reporting in the Ibiza console has changed greatly, and now we are able to see something like this, which we never saw earlier. So what you're seeing right now, there is no customization that has been done. All you have to do is you have to go into the portal, and over there is a section called reports, and then you can see something like a trend. So this is actually showing you historical information as well, and it is showing you the trend of device enrollment or the trend of device compliance, as in how often the devices become not so at the bottom you can see that there is that timeline which says February 2nd to March 29th, March 29th being when the screenshot was taken. And it actually shows us a trend, as in how often the devices are becoming compliant, how often the devices are not becoming compliant, and all that information. So this is like more intuitive for, let's just say, if you want to get an overall heads up on your environment, as in how exactly the devices are doing, or something like this, wherein it is telling you in a more graphical and intuitive format. It's giving you pie charts. You can click on any of them, and then it will tell you which device is compliant, which device is not compliant, as well as the reasoning. So if we just do a comparison of this with the old Silverlight portal reporting, you will see that there are a lot of differences. And this is just one screenshot. You have the option of digging in much more and getting more granular reports from Intune as well. This is just a report that I downloaded from Intune, and for the devices enrolled. And you can see it has got so many options. The screenshot doesn't capture all of them, but it is telling you the applications deployed to the device, the name of the device, type of the device, model of the device, the IDs of the device, the last sync of the device. It will even tell you when was the last time any application checked in with Intune in a specific device. So, I mean, let's just talk about a use case. The use case of this would be, let's just say that I have an application deployed to all the devices in my environment, and those applications keeps on crashing. So if the application is crashing and I want to get a crash report, that is something that I can get from Intune. From the can we get it from the console? Not really. For that we have other tools which we'll talk about later. But this is what I'm trying to say, that is the level of information that we can possibly get from Intune, which was not possible in the Silverlight console when we were using the other framework. So that's first. The second option that we have is a tool called Microsoft Graph Explorer, and which uses the RESTful APIs and tries to. So what happens is when we are clicking on any blade in the Intune console, at the backend it also tries it not tries it also makes a graph query. And again, there are only so many things that we can display in the portal, right? If we display all the possible information in the portal, then the portal won't look as neat as it is looking right now. Therefore, if there is any additional information that you would want to wish, so for example, let's just say that I have a device, and if I click on that device in the Intune portal, it gives me the information of what the hardware is of the device, and when the device was enrolled, when was the last time it got synced, what is the storage of the device, the IMEI, the serial number, and all that. But that is not all the reporting that is happening. There is a lot more reporting that is happening behind the hood, which by default we are not reporting it in the portal, because again, as I said, that if we displayed everything in the portal to begin with, then it wouldn't be looking that neat. right? So if you want to get that information, then the tool to use would be Graph Explorer. It's again a free tool. All you need to do is you just need to log into that tool using a global admin, and then you can get a lot more granular information. It looks something like this, and at the top you can see that this is the query that we are running. So this is, and how do we get this query? Again, there are a lot of documentation available which talks about what query we need to run. But then if we actually think about it, it is like quite straightforward. It says that we are running a query which is going to https://graphs.microsoft.com and then device management and then managed devices. So we want to get a list of all the managed devices which are there in my tenant. And that is exactly, and at the bottom you can see that there is something called response. And in the response, it is displaying all the managed devices. And if we take a second and see the field that got populated, you will know the difference. So it says that we have 4 devices which are managed in our environment. And then for each device, it will give us a section or a block. So it's telling me the name of the ID of the device, the user ID which was there used to enroll the device, the management device owner type, the last sync date, operating system, compliance, and whatnot. And if you do a comparison, you would find out that all these information are not displayed in the portal. So because as I said that it wouldn't be that much neater if we jam pack the portal with all the
I think Saurabh, we are speaking in mute.
Unable to hear you if you are trying to speak.
Saurabh, I think
We are not able to hear you, Saurabh. Yeah, I think
Saurabh,
he's
Sarvesh, you
fix that. He's trying to fix that.
Okay. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think somebody did mute all, which is
Yeah.
why it was also muted. Okay, so I'm not sure where you guys lost me.
Sorry, Saurabh. Probably
Yes.
what you can do is, right, if some sound is coming, you can mute. You can try to mute all, and you can unmute yourself. So that would be helpful, right?
Sure, sir. I'll do that. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm not sure where you guys lost me. We were talking about Graph Explorer. Did you guys hear me until then? The Graph Explorer part?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what we were talking about was a tool called Graph Explorer, and all we need to do is run queries in this. This is just a very sample and a very basic query, which is showing us the list of managed devices in our environment. And at the bottom, you can see all the information that Intune is collecting for this device. And the list goes on. There is a lot of information that we can collect and that we can customize. And one of the good things about Graph Explorer about running a Graph API call is you can either consume it in this tool called Graph Explorer, or you can consume it in a tool like PowerShell. So the advantage that brings in is if you just had to see the report once, then you can probably go to the portal and take a look, or you can come to the Graph Explorer and take a look. But what about
Saurabh, sorry to
Yes.
disturb you. Can you switch you to presentation mode on your PowerPoint? Your things are very small. It's not visible. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, if we are talking about a scenario wherein you wanted to take a look over the reporting once, then probably going to the portal or probably coming to this Graph Explorer tool makes sense. But what if you want to, what if you have to do it every week, right? Then going to the portal every time, exporting it every time doesn't make a lot of sense. And that is wherein the power of an API, running an API call comes into the mix, and we have the ability of running this Graph API calls in a PowerShell terminal as well. So all you need to do is you need to install the PowerShell, the Intune module. Once that has been installed, you just need to get yourself authorized. So you just have to enter your username, password. Once that is done, then the same call that you're making over here, which is https://grabs.microsoft.com and then manage devices, you would be running the same call in a PowerShell terminal as well. And then you have the option of exporting it, and then you have an option of running that in a scheduled task, or maybe all you'll have to do is just double click and run that PS1 every Sunday, which will download the report for you in a specific folder. So what I'm trying to say is there are ways to automate this as well, and it works very well, is what I'm trying to say. So this would be one of the way of making use of something called a Graph Explorer. And then comes the third tool, which is Power BI. So again, I'm in a process of creating a dedicated nugget on how exactly the integration happens between PowerShell, between Power BI and Intune. But then this is like one of the best tools that I've seen. I mean, it is, if you are familiar with Power BI, it gives you a very good pictorial representation, if I would say. And then I mean, like if you compare this with something like an Excel, you would have to in Excel you have to manually create something like a relationship between two sheets. Over here in Power BI, it's not that tough. All you need to do is you just need to drag and drop, and it provides you the information in a very intuitive way. And what Power BI does is it accesses the same Intune data warehouse location using the RESTful API calls. And I know that the screenshot is not very clear, but what it does is you have the option of, so I mean, this is one of the screenshots, which actually is, I'll tell you what what is the information that I'm trying to present over here. So what this graph represents is all the Android devices which are enrolled to my tenant and the operating system version of all those Android devices as well. So that is the level of granularity that we are getting in case of an Android device reporting. It is telling us via use of a chart or via use of a statistics that how many devices that I have. Out of those devices, how many are Android? Out of those Android devices, how many are running on Android version 10? And inside Android version 10, if there is anything which is running with Android version 10.1 or 10.2, it is segregating all of that in a way we want it to segregate. So that is the level of granularity that we can get using Power BI. And it's like very easy. All we have to do is Power BI again is a free tool. We just have to download it, install it, run that, I mean, establish that connection between Power BI and our Intune data warehouse, which resides in our tenant. Once that has been done, then we have to establish a few relationships, and then it gives us this information. Again, more details on this later. This is just again a level 50 information. The intent is letting you guys know that this exists. Power BI exists. The intent is letting you guys know that Graph API exists and Graph Explorer exists, and that it can be integrated with PowerShell. How can that be done? Well, that is going, I mean, there are links to that, which if you guys want, I can share. But I mean, I just wanted to let you guys know that there is something like this. There is a product like this, which can be utilized and which gives us a very, very good amount of information. You can over here see that, and it is not like it is just a screenshot. So let's just say that I have a screenshot which says that how many devices. I know that it's not very clear, but what this is trying to say is this is a pie chart which says all the compliant devices. Now let's just say that the portion in black is the Android device. If I just click on that black portion, then it will populate all the Android devices in my environment. If again I click on any one device, it will just keep on doing that deep dive. It will go on into the next level, and it will keep on showing me that information in this portal itself. So it's and it obviously it gives us the historical information as well. So it will give me information about past 90 days as in what has happened, and as well as trend analysis as well. So this is the power of Power BI tool. It's like very intuitive and very easy to use. And as I said, I'm in the process of making a tutorial on how exactly this integration can be done, how to get more information. So stay tuned on that. I mean, this is just a little bit on what are the advantages of Power BI. Obviously, as I said, that we can view historical information, create and publish customized report. When I say customized report, what I mean is by default from the Intune portal, you cannot get a report of all the devices in your environment which are Android and which are running with a specific version of Android OS. But using Power BI, you can get that customized report. And this is just one example. You can just do any level of customization that you would actually want to. You can see the trends, do analysis, get the graphs, tables, establish relationships on your own. And as I said, one of the example was getting, let's just say that there is an application which is crashing on your device, right? So you can use something like in Power BI, which can give you an information on when was the last time an application checked in all the devices in your environment. So using that, you can find out that, okay, whether this application is actually being used by the organization or not. So it gives you that level of granularity. And again, Power BI is a free tool, so there is nothing like we have to invest in Power BI to make use of it. So that's just it. I mean, again, I just wanted to give you guys a level 50 kind of information. I wouldn't take a lot of time because I mean, the major agenda of this is having a Q&A. But yeah, I'm in the process of making a tutorial for that, and probably I will be uploading it over here and everything about Intune. It's a YouTube channel, and I will keep you guys posted on how to create a customized report and how to make use of Power BI in a better way. So that's my time, sir.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, two questions. One is,
Sure.
in Intune, do you have multi-tenant concept? Unlike when you're looking for SCCM branch cache, you have multi-tenants. Means different service provider can be serving on one company. Okay. Do you have Intune similar concept of multi-tenancy?
Unfortunately, we do not.
You don't have. Okay.
No.
Okay. The second question is, when you're talking about Power BI, do you have ready-made templates where we can get for Intune and utilize and modify it according to our environment?
Ready-made templates, as in templates for what? For generating reports?
Generating reports, yeah.
We don't have ready-made templates, but I believe that we have a lot of documentations around it, and it wouldn't take you more than 2 or 3 clicks. So once the relationship has been, so once you install the Power BI software in your laptop, the first thing that you need to do is obviously attach or obviously link it with your tenant. Once that has been done, Power BI by default will display all the information related to your tenant. It will show you all the policies, all the applications, all the devices, etc. Now, how much of filtration you need to do, that is something that you will have to click and just like you do in case of Excel, right? You apply filters, you apply rules, you apply relationships. Similar thing is what we are doing in Power BI. So to answer your question, no, we do not have any built-in or readily available templates that I am aware of. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't take more than 3 or 4 clicks to get a basic pictorial representation, and then it comes down to us that what is the level of filtration that we actually wish to do to get the report. But yeah, I mean, if you're working with Intune, and this is for all, if you're working with Intune and if you have, let's just say 10,000 or more devices, I'm sure that there is some level of reporting that you as an Intune admin must be maintaining for your organization, right? And if you are doing that, then I would highly suggest that make use of this Power BI tool. It's a very good tool to present. So if you have to present the devices, or if you have to present the status of your tenant to, let's just say, your management, then Power BI comes in very handy, because as I said, it's a very good pictorial representation. It's very easy to use, and it's very granular as well.
What is the access needed, Saurabh? Is it the Intune admin to
Yes,
connect to the tenant?
you need to be an Intune admin in order to have that connection between your Power BI tool and your Intune data warehouse. Okay. So it can be an instant.
About Saurabh,
Yes, please go ahead.
okay. So what about in the case of co-managed scenarios? So let's suppose I'm working in a co-management scenario. So in that case, if I'll be using Power BI, so I'll be getting the same kind of reports Or they
Right,
will.
that's a good question. So if it is a co-managed device and if the workload is set to Intune, right, then all the policies that you're deploying from Intune is coming down to the device, right? So then in that case, you will be getting that information. But if the workload was set to SCCM, then any policy that you were making from Intune did not come down to the device to begin with, right? So therefore, in that case, all you will be getting is that the device is because the device is co-managed, meaning the device is enrolled to Intune. But as the device is not getting any policies from Intune, if you go down and drill down to that device, you won't be finding any information related to policies applicable on that device, which is fair enough, right? Because we are in that case not applying any policy from Intune, we're applying it from
Mhm.
SCCM. Because I
Okay.
mean, what you're doing in Power BI is establishing that relationship between the Power BI application and Intune data warehouse. So anything that is coming from Intune is what we can track in the Power BI console.
Okay,
Sure.
how
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Sarvesh here. So
Yeah.
how the desktop analytics and this Intune reporting will merge when we are co-management point of view?
Uh, I am not exactly sure, to be honest. I haven't done a lot of research on desktop analytics, so probably I can
I
look that up and
probably
get back
I
to you.
can probably take that
Yeah.
question. Um, so first of all, desktop analytics is not there for Intune at the moment, right? So this is available only for SCCM at the moment, right?
Okay.
So are you trying to enable that for
No,
SCCM and trying to do something with
yeah, in a
that,
co-manage,
or
yeah,
how?
co-management, I'm comparing desktop analytics with the Intune reporting. Is it equivalent currently, or is it just
No, no, there is no
different?
comparison between
Okay,
desktop analytics reporting and Intune reporting, because it's comparing of apples and oranges, right?
okay, okay.
Because desktop analytics works based on the telemetry data, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Intune reporting is based on the client agent and all the other things, right? The default
Okay,
client agent reporting and all the other things like what is that called, Intune management extension and all, right? So it's bit different, so we cannot
okay.
exactly compare both the reportings. Does
Okay,
that
my
make
second,
sense? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's enough for me. When I was looking for a co-management concept, then desktop, and that was my actually intention to ask. Okay, second question is, see, major challenge with Intune is to backups or having the conditional policy reporting, okay, in one go. So is it Graph API or which will be a best approach to generate a report or creating a dump of or backup point of view or as an
Okay, so for backup, you
admin
have an
reporting point of
option
view?
of running PowerShell. So we have a PowerShell script available. I believe there is a PowerShell script available in GitHub, which lets you take a backup of all the policies and all the devices that you have. I mean, it's just again a backup of all the policy. It will take kind of a snapshot, so that if you want to refer
Okay,
back to it at a later point
okay,
of
but it
time.
will not generate a okay
Yeah.
reporting point of view. It will not able to generate something report like
I mean,
normally.
I believe it
IT
exports it
company
in an
managers
Excel.
ask consolidate report. Yeah, in Excel. Yeah, sorry.
Yes. So I mean, if you want to, I mean that is for what you can use something like in Graph Explorer or Power BI, right? So you can make use of Microsoft Graph Explorer and then export the report. Or if you have to do it, let's just say every week, then you can make use of something like PowerShell, right? Wherein you have to run those same RESTful API calls and then export that to a folder or to a Excel file, right? And all you'll have to
Okay,
do is
so I
next
have to
time when
try
you have to do it,
graph
you
API,
just
whatever.
have to double click on a .ps1, which will keep on doing it for you. Or you can run it in a scheduled task to run it every Sunday 9 p.m., which will do it for you again by itself. Or if you want it in a prettier way, then you can make use of something like a Power BI tool.
Okay, understood.
Mhm.
So for the reporting purpose, I don't know, like the complaints report was one of your question, right?
No, I'm looking for actually not compliance, but conditional policies overall. If a customer normally says, "Give me overall view of conditional policies," example, with a dump.
Okay.
Normally, the challenge is I don't see any much scripts where we can download the conditional policy in Excel format or something like that with all the settings set currently. It is difficult. So, it is any something for admin purpose, a backup point of view is available because I'm not clear on the part of how the Intune settings get restored if required also. But at least backup point of view or presenting point of view in Excel format, is
Okay.
it possible? Overall policies.
Okay.
That was actually.
Okay.
So
So
Word file format, it's possible. I just shared a post regarding that in the chat window. I don't know whether all of you can see the chat or not. Um, Intune policies, Intune
Unfortunately,
like
unfortunately, yeah, unfortunately, I can't.
okay,
Maybe
that's
you
fine
share on
then.
email. Maybe you share on email once all the chat transcript for the participants. That will be great. Anup.
Okay, I can try that. Otherwise, I will share in the
Team
WhatsApp
level.
group or
Anup,
something.
it says that
WhatsApp group.
only team member can chat.
I don't have any team member, right? All of you are guests, right? Only me as a admin, right? Admin of this team's tenant is what do you call organization what do you call user, organizational user, right? Others are like all our guests. So some can chat, some cannot chat. I don't know why. So yeah, you need to check that.
Actually, there is a workaround for chat to work. You can use this on your laptop or desktop. You can log in on Teams, and on your mobile, you're able to chat. So just log in, click on the link, what you get on the WhatsApp, then you can chat from your mobile. That's what I'm doing actually.
Anup,
Okay,
there's
thank
an
you for that
option.
tip.
There's an option that you have to enable guest access in your so that everybody can do the chat. I'll send you the link offline.
I think I think guest option chat is enabled. That is why all the guests are able to chat. I mean, like most of the guests are able to chat, right?
Yeah, correct. We all are joined as a guest, I think.
Yes.
Okay. Anyways, like Teams discussion, we can
Anyway,
have.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, you can
Uh,
what I said. You can put on email the chat transcript. That will be enough at the end of this. At least the
yeah, I will
links
share
which
it
you're trying to share.
somewhere. Yeah. Or you can try to ping me
Just
individually. I don't know, like whether that is possible.
just a quick question on Power BI. So, if I understand correctly, I can use Power BI is just a plugin that I can do with any kind of deployment tool that I'm running on my environment.
Mhm.
So, so what I'm trying to understand is what is the requirement that is needed for Power BI? I think it needs an Office 365 account. Is it something that you're aware of?
Okay, so you're asking that what do you need to make use of Power BI? Is that what you're asking?
Exactly.
Okay, so all you need is a Power BI tool, which is a free software, and the user who is running. So you have to log into the Power BI tool, right? Just like you log into the Intune portal. So you have to log in with your account. That account needs to be an Intune administrator, and that account needs to have the Power BI license assigned to him. So just like you have a EMS license, there is something called a Power BI license. The license is free. The
Mm-hmm.
user who is logging into the Power BI tool needs to be an Intune admin and needs to have the Power BI license assigned.
If I just have only SCCM.
Say that, Karthik. We didn't get that. Say that again. Is that only me? I can't
Right?
hear anything.
Yeah, same for me as well, sir.
Okay.
Yes. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Let me see. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. So my question is, if I just have a native SCCM setup, which is not co-management, not MECM, just SCCM, which is CB, whatever the version is. If I just install Power BI on top of it, I should be able to manage this all the reporting through Power BI, right?
But then again, I'm not exactly sure how you would be integrating your Power BI with your SCCM setup. Because I mean, one of the part of so when I was what I was explaining was making use of Power BI tool with Intune, and as a part of the setup, you have to establish that connection between the Power BI tool and your Intune tenant. So that's one of the prereqs that we have to do. It's just one time thing. You just have to copy a link from your portal and paste it in the Power BI tool, which establishes that connection. But if you were to make use of Power BI for your SCCM setup, unfortunately, I'm not exactly familiar on how would you establish that connection between the Power BI tool and the SCCM setup so that Power BI can fetch that information from your SCCM database and display it for you.
Probably I can
I
take the
don't know. I
question.
don't know,
Saurabh,
Karthik.
Yeah,
Saurabh,
sir,
this is
okay,
Mohan.
good.
Yeah, this is Mohan.
Yeah,
Actually, I
Deepak.
prepared that
Deepak,
one.
please proceed.
Sorry,
Mohan, please hold on. Please hold on.
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to say, I was hearing if I heard correctly, you want to fetch reports from Power BI and integrate it with your legacy SCCM infrastructure. Yes, that is very much
Yeah.
possible. There is a documentation is also available. So you just have to log into the Power BI with the same account which has admin access in SCCM, and you have to explore the data store and click on connect, where it asks for username and password, and you can fetch all the details whatever you are doing through SSRS. The challenge here is you have to install the Power BI plugin first, and before that you have to have the full license of the Power BI infrastructure where you are setting up and integrating with SCCM.
Got it.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
Also, I don't know, like Deepak, I didn't hear you are talking about you are talking about the normal SCCM, or have you mentioned anything about 2002 options? Because in 2002, Microsoft released a new feature to integrate Power BI with SCCM natively, right?
Uh,
So Power BI reporting with SCCM natively. So you can check those documentations, Karthik. Probably that would be helpful if you are using um 2002 version of SCCM.
Not yet, but I will check it. Thank you. I'm still on 1902, so that's
Yeah,
okay.
for the but
Thanks.
SCCM Power BI dashboard, I think SCCM 2012 is required or later.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
Yeah, this is Mohan. Sorry to add this thing. And actually, if you are familiar with the SQL queries, and you can use that one, the SQL database into the importing into the data into the Power BI. There you can prepare that one Power BI dashboards.
Okay.
It's a very simple way actually, and the Power BI can able to fetch the data from the SQL database.
Thanks.
yeah, that settles.
This is Ravish. I have one question regarding desktop analytics. Uh, so, can we take use of desktop analytics even if we don't have any SCCM environment in the organization?
That's really a tricky question. I don't know the answer about that because uh, I have seen SCCM use case with Power BI. I'm sorry, desktop analytics, but I don't know there is any other option. of using desktop analytics without Power BI. So if you can explain what is the exact use case, why you don't want to use SCCM, you don't have SCCM infrastructure, or do you
Yeah.
have
So
somebody?
SCCM is infrastructure is not there. We have to analyze the devices in the environment which are Win10 compatible, which are not. So for that, we want to make use of desktop analytics. So
So
that's
are you using, sorry, are you using Intune or something else? What is the device management tool you are using in your
not,
organization?
nothing as of now. It's a very small organization, so it was manually managed. Now we have to take care of upgrading all the Win7 devices to Win10, and to assess the device compatibility, we have to uh, make use of desktop analytics. So that's what a point, because whatever links I have searched on, everywhere it's mentioned that we're using SCCM plus desktop analytics, you can pull down
Yeah.
the reports, and nowhere it's mentioned standalone use of desktop analytics.
Windows Analytics was there. I don't know, like we still have it or not, but
No, Windows
anybody
Analytics
else?
is gone. It
Yeah,
has
so
been.
we don't have any other option at the moment, I feel. Either you need to go with Intune, and probably Intune will come up with some more option. At the moment, Intune is also not supporting desktop analytics, but I don't know whether it will come to Intune or not. That we need to ask Microsoft. I don't have any public information to share on that point, but I think desktop analytics at the moment only works with SCCM. But yeah,
So if we set our uh, telemetry data to send all the devices to send the telemetry data on a particular Azure tenant, so will we be able to you know access the data that it
reports.
sends reports on the Azure portal?
That's other way of asking. Desktop analytics is
Yeah.
available for the
Yeah.
normal normal organizations who are not using SCCM, right? No,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right. All right.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any other comments?
Question, this Graph API. So actually, I wanted to know, do you have any level 300 video for Intune Graph API?
Yes, there is. I would have pinged it in the chat, but unfortunately I cannot. But yeah, you can check out the same channel. It is everything about Intune in YouTube, and over there I have done a tutorial on graphics on Graph API, how to integrate it with PowerShell as well for Intune, and how to get the custom reporting. So you can check it at the same place. Yeah.
Okay.
Sort of a Graph API also, does it need to be installed on any specific machine, or
No,
is
no,
it in
no.
the
You
cloud?
just have to go to aka.ms/ge. That's so it's a UR, it's web based. You don't have to install any tool.
Okay.
You just have to go to the URL aka.ms/ge, and then from there you will get the same interface which I was showing in the slides, and then you can run the API calls.
Okay, thanks.
Saurabh, can we add the subscription to these reporting in Power BI as we have in SSRS?
So by subscription you mean the licenses and all assigned to a specific user, right?
No, means a report to a particular
Email subscription.
distribution. Those, yeah, email subscription.
Okay. Uh, I am not exactly sure. I believe there should be a way, but yeah, again, I can look that up. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
Okay, no worries.